coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
I'm Danielle Bouchard. Find out how Chesterfield Police is trying to combat the heroin problem in the community. I'm Grace Fernandez, and I'll tell you all the health benefits you need to know from using these fitness trackers.
I'm Nancy Gabaldon. One local Chesterfield horse has stolen the hearts of those in the special needs community. I'll tell you why.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Aaron Dean.
And I'm Taylor Gleason. Thanks for joining us. Now, topping the news tonight, Chesterfield Police are looking into a new method of combating drug use in the community. InSight's Danielle Bouchard is in the studio with more. Danielle, what are police doing differently?
Good evening, Taylor. Chesterfield County Police knew they had to team up with the community to begin to take a more holistic approach to the ever-growing heroin epidemic. Realizing arresting heroin users wasn't stopping the drug problem, Major Chris Hensley knew he had to come up with another plan.
These are families that friends and so forth being impacted. It's a huge impact that the numbers don't tell the whole story. That's when Hensley contacted Chesterfield Substance Abuse Free Environment, also called SAFE, for some help. They've been able to provide us with a heroin resource information card that we are able to pass out to anyone that we believe, may be having addiction issues. Hensley says his investigators found a connection between shoplifters and heroin addicts. This prompted him to team up with retailers to try and help target repeat shoplifters who may also be drug users. These information cards have resources on the back of them where heroin users can receive help. Hensley says he wanted to reach out to users before they begin to steal to support their habit or onto even more serious crimes. Regina Whitsett, director of SAFE, says this new initiative is needed after almost triple the heroin overdoses this year compared to this time last year.
And just last week in the Powhatan area, there were 3 fatalities of high school students from heroin overdose. So we do have a big problem here in our region. Dr. Peter Coleman at the Coleman Institute for Substance Abuse Treatment says this program could really help.
I mean, the statistic I've taught for a long time is that 70% of all the people in jail are there because they have an addiction. They're really not bad people. They just are caught up with an addiction.
Hensley and Whitsett stressed that if you know anyone who is battling heroin addiction, to please contact them so they can hand out the resource cards to those in need before it's too late. Back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Danielle. The Zika virus is a mosquito-borne virus that is currently sweeping across Central America. However, the World Health Organization has declared the virus as a public health emergency of international concern. I traveled to Belize 2 weeks ago with a Richmond-based missionary team and saw firsthand how Belize is handling the epidemic.
Zika virus currently being transmitted in Central America. The warning signs are everywhere. Despite these warnings, locals that I spoke with are not concerned.
Belize is safe.
According to the Belizean newspaper Amandala, no cases of Zika virus have been confirmed in Belize. This is because no testing clinics exist in the entire country. Belize is a poverty-stricken nation that is unable to afford the technology needed to detect Zika. Dr. Morgan Flinchbach, a Richmond-based missionary who traveled with us, says that it's likely the virus is being transmitted in the area.
I think it is definitely possible it's here, especially being where we're at in Belize, being really close to Guatemala and Mexico, just to the north. I think it's definitely possible that it's here. I would encourage anybody to take any precautions that they feel necessary to eliminate Zika virus.
Here in Benque Viejo, locals can protect themselves from being bitten by mosquitoes by using bug spray and mosquito netting. Because once a person is diagnosed with Zika virus, there's no guaranteed cure.
Many fear Zika virus due to the risk of birth defects, miscarriages, and paralysis. However, despite all the warnings, locals are choosing to ignore the negativity, like Senor Altelanio Oliveras, a teacher at Kaya Creek Standard School.
Because the government has always been doing their follow-up on it, and up to last night in the news they have 0 Zika virus in the country. So we know it is safe from Zika.
According to the Center for Disease Control, nearly 80% of Zika cases will go undiagnosed in 2016. Zika virus is anticipated to be actively transmitted in the U.S. by summertime.
Were you concerned about the Zika virus while you were in Belize?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was at first, but our team was really prepared for the trip. We had military-grade bug spray and mosquito netting for our protection.
Great opportunity to see firsthand. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
The Richmond grocery wars are heating up with the opening of another Aldi grocery store on Broad. The new store is located in the 6200 block of West Broad. The German-based chain is known for its discount prices. Here in the Richmond area are plans for 3 more stores. It's part of the company's plan to add about 130 new stores each year. The chain already has 6 stores here in Richmond. Most people often talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but one VCU officer was in the right place at the right time. A simple change in assignment led him to save a woman's life. InSight Breon Burns is in the newsroom with more. Good evening, Breon.
Good evening, Aaron. Instead of working the Monroe Park campus like he was scheduled to that day, Officer Sonny Pryor was sent to the MCV campus. It was a change that ended up being life-saving.
712 to the vehicle, blue CPR in progress.
After hearing the transmissions on his control radio regarding an unresponsive woman in the MCV hospital, the medic and Officer Sonny Pryor kicked in.
I was at the right place, right time, doing my job. Being an EMT and a medic for so long, that's what you're expected to do. You're in an ambulance, so that's what you do. You answer medical emergencies.
With decades of experience as a certified emergency medical technician and a former life support provider, Pryor's thoughts shifted from law enforcement to medical care. On that day, he heard the call of a woman who had collapsed inside the door of the ER. He was the first to arrive at the scene, starting CPR and using an AED defibrillator to revive her.
For me, I just got the ball rolling, and everybody else collaborated, and team effort help save a life.
VCU Police Chief John Venuti says the police department often uses Officer Pryor's extensive medical background training to their advantage.
So Officer Pryor's also been instrumental in working with us, equipping us to be better prepared to deal with emerging medical issues that could happen at any point in time on our campuses.
Venuti says on a regular basis, his officers carry life-saving equipment because you never know when it will be necessary to take immediate medical action. But for Officer Pryor, it was just another day at work.
Whether it be later today, tomorrow, next month, next year, I'm going to do the same thing again.
Officer Pryor says the woman stayed in the hospital for a little bit and was later discharged. According to police, she is doing just fine. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Breon.
VCU hosts its first suicide prevention walk over the first weekend in April. The goal is to create awareness and raise funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. InSight's Nancy Gabaldon is in the studio with more.
I'm here with Jennifer Gerlach with the Out of the Darkness Walk. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So VCU is hosting a Out of the Darkness Walk for the first time ever, and you have been coordinating the whole event. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. The walk is, it's actually sponsored by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and they do community walks and campus walks and even an overnight walk. And the reason they do separate campus walks is because suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24. So just being a college student, being, that age is a high risk factor. And so that's why it's so important, and they reach out directly to campuses to do that. So it's going to be held on Saturday, April 2nd, with check-in and registration beginning at 9, and the walk will begin at 10. So it'll be a short walk, beginning and ending at the Compass.
Okay. And how did you get involved? I know that you are a high school counselor. Is this something that has a personal connection to you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a high school counselor in Chesterfield, and I'm a counselor education doctoral student. So this is part of our community outreach for our Counseling Honor Society, Chi Sigma Iota, and I'm the president-elect. And so not only is it an incredibly important topic to kind of spread the word and break the stigma of getting help if you are having suicidal thoughts or you have depression,
but also it's very relevant to the counseling field. So we want to reach as many people as we can, and I do suicide assessments on students. High school students, it's a tough age. Again, that 15 to 24-year-old age range. So it's, we see a lot of students who are struggling with things and have those suicidal thoughts, and they come in to get help, for which I'm very thankful that they do, and they do speak up. So
right. So we do have some footage of you, we have some footage of an event that took place. It's a national event, and can you just talk a little bit about what goes on and comparison of what will go on for VCU?
Sure. So the footage you guys are about to see are seeing is the overnight walk that's occurred. I'm not sure the city where it is, but the overnight walks are held in different cities each year. I believe this year the cities are San Francisco and New York. So the footage that you're seeing, it's much, much bigger, but it's still, walking with the same purpose of raising awareness and prevention. For the walk here at VCU, it will be much smaller. As of right now, we have about 225 people registered, which is fantastic. I'm really pleased with the response. And there will be community and campus resources as well for students who are struggling with suicide, who have been impacted by suicide directly or are struggling with depression and need some help as well. So we don't want to just, raise the awareness, which is the purpose of the walk. We want that to happen, but we also want to leave people with tangible resources to get some help if that's what they need.
And I understand that you guys had a goal to meet of $3,000, and
Yes.
you exceeded that recently.
Yes, I'm very excited. Was very nervous for a long time, just watching the little thermometer not go up very high. And the past couple weeks, people have gotten really involved. I've registered. We had a $3,000 goal, and I think as of this morning, we've surpassed that, and have about $3,300. So it's fantastic to have met that goal, and hopefully we'll be able to see that that will come back to us through prevention and training and things like that. That's AFSP's goal. So
that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course.
What you're doing is great.
Thanks.
I've been speaking with Jennifer Gerlach with the Out of the Darkness Walk. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
VCU is adding a new addition to an old building. Gladden's Residence Center is getting some upgrades. The renovation will offer an additional 600 beds to students. The projected cost of these changes is $96 million. The Texas-based company, American Campus Communities, is a familiar company that has been used in other residential projects in the city, such as 1200 West Marshall and 8.5 Canal Street. Renovations are set to begin fall 2016.
VCU is listed as one of the best graduate schools by U.S. News and World Reports. VCU is tied in second place with the University of California, Los Angeles for their graduate level fine arts program, with Yale University in first. Within VCU Arts, there are several fine arts specialties also topping the lists of their own. Sculpture is at number 1, ceramics tied at number 9, graphic design at number 3, and painting and drawing at number 7. Other VCU graduate programs that have topped the list include the School of Allied Health Professions and Nurse Anesthesia. Good news to those who are keeping up with technology. Using a fitness tracker can help you with exercise goals and sometimes give doctors valuable health information. InSight's Grace Fernandez is in the newsroom with more on the story. Good evening, Grace.
Good evening, Taylor. These little wristbands that track your activity have a new feature that allow you to monitor your heart rate, helping people be more in tune with their bodies.
David Ray began religiously tracking his heart rate 3 months ago to train for a marathon. He says his resting heart rate dropped from a 63 to a 57.
Basically know when my heart rate should go up and when it should not.
Ray says while training for a race, he doesn't want to have to push too hard, especially a marathon.
I want my heart to work as less as possible, so that way it lasts a lot longer. So I'm training my heart the entire time.
With this fitness tracker, you're able to count your steps, calories burned, and you can even monitor your heart rate. It can provide insight into your health and let you know whether you're exerting yourself too much or too little in your daily life.
Dr. Linda Hancock of the VCU Wellness Center says a conditioned heart rate for a young adult should range from 60 to 80. Hancock says she thinks fitness trackers have appealed to people because they can notice subtle variations.
At least my students, when they've come back to me and said, hey, I noticed this. And so it's kind of exciting for them to finally get in tune with their body and what they're doing.
Ray participated in the Shamrock Marathon in Virginia Beach over St. Patrick's Day weekend. Here's a chart of his heart rate taken from his Fitbit. He says he finished near the top of his age group, thanks in part to his fitness tracker.
Go, David! It does everything for you. I love it. And I feel like you should just invest in it. Invest in your health.
Apple, Samsung, Garmin, and of course Fitbit all have fitness trackers. Depending on the features, prices can range from $100 to $600. Back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Grace.
Fresh off the heels of the UCI Road World Championships, Richmond will introduce a new cycling event this summer. The RVA to DC bike race will take place on July 23rd and 24th. The two-day bike race will start at Sportsbackers Stadium in Richmond before stopping in Fredericksburg for an overnight rest period. Cyclists will finish at Gateway Park in Arlington the next day. Cyclists will follow U.S. Route 1 for majority of the race.
With the Olympics just months away, Olympic hopefuls are preparing for their chance to make it. One of those people is former VCU student and track and field standout, Kiara Porter. InSight's Erica Robertson has more on the story.
Kiara Porter may have ended her collegiate career on VCU's track team last May, but she hasn't hung her spikes up just yet.
I have to push myself, I have to work on my own schedule.
Porter is hoping to fulfill her dream of chasing a gold medal in the 2016 Olympics. She previously made 2 USA national teams and is now ready to sprint her way to Rio. Porter has had to adjust to life after VCU. Often practicing alone, she has had to find motivation from within.
I tell myself that, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this to show everyone that I can do this, I can be successful in this.
Kiara's been training here at Sportsbackers Stadium since she was a freshman, and although she's already graduated, she's found her way back here in her quest on the road to Rio. Although there are doubts that she may qualify due to the fact that she's 5 feet tall, Porter's collegiate coach turned training coach says Porter's discipline and work ethic will help her to achieve her goal.
In that small little body, it's a lot of toughness and energy.
While she tries not to listen to the doubters, Porter believes she has a great chance to represent the U.S.
Anything can happen. It's Olympic year. Anybody can get hurt. Anybody can step up. So it's just crazy to know that I'm a contender in order to make a spot to Rio.
A contender short in size who dreams big. For VCU InSight, I'm Erica Robinson.
While the U.S. Olympic trials are not until July, Porter says finding the balance between perfecting her craft and enjoying the process is what she will be doing over the next several months. Porter will compete in the Trinidad and Tobago Grand Games Athletics Invitational in May.
The UCI Road World Championships happened this past fall in the city of Richmond. Along came creative murals additions to our city. InSight's Grace Fernandez is in the studio with more.
I'm here with area muralist Sir James Thornhill. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So I know that you're a Jackson Ward native, but you've traveled all over the world, including Ghana and Jamaica, and you've painted everywhere. So what keeps bringing you back to Richmond?
Well, I was born here, for one, and Richmond is growing so fast. There's so many things happening in the arts. I'm working with local schools. I'm working with kids. I teach over 500 kids a year. My family's here, so I can't just leave, right?
So you mentioned working a lot with kids, and actually here we have some clips of your work, and a lot of them include the work you do around the schools, and here that's a picture of you in Ghana. And so there's a program actually called the Sir James Thornhill Global Arts Initiative. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, that's a group I formed about 3 years ago, because a lot of students I meet, they want to learn more about the process of making art and they can't afford it. So I decided to bring them in, teach them art, and the process and have them work on murals with me as well. And then when I find kids that are doing graffiti on walls or vandalizing walls, I invite them in to teach them the value of keeping this property historic and preserving it. And once they learn to paint murals, you find that the whole opinion change about going out and tagging a name on walls.
So you've developed sort of like a mentor program, and I know I've read a lot about you, and you said you grew up with a lot of mentors. So that's really important for you to give back to your community, correct?
Yes, very much so, because if you don't give back, it seems like you're just really wasting your time. What we're doing is building a future for our kids. And if you don't have the opportunity to talk with them and get them some insight, where are they going to go? You know, so now it's their turn. So they give, to me it's like a painting. At first you think you're painting the painting, but the painting is painting you. When I go to schools and work with young kids, it gives me a chance to be a kid again.
And they teach you as well.
Yes, when you got 30 little kids running around and Mr. James, and they're doing these creative things, and they're so smart nowadays. You know, these kids, to me, they're like adults in little kids' bodies because they just know so much.
So in the clip, I also saw a picture of you painting the mural, getting ready for the UCI Road World Championship. And you painted a mural of Major Taylor. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, that was the right project at the right time. I was in a cafe one time with a group of artists, and a gentleman showed me a picture of Major Taylor. So I didn't think much about it at first, and then afterwards I started thinking about the bike race and saw this, and look, I Googled Major Taylor. And this young man did so much at an early age, and despite all the challenges and racism, he still became a champion. At the age of 16, he was doing things that people just wasn't doing. So I invited my group in, told them about it, and invited some local supporters and partners, Venture Richmond and Jackson Water Association. Everybody loved the project. And then days before, we started getting calls from the Major Taylor Association, his family, his kids, and it just took off like wildfire. And right now, it's been seen all over the world.
That's amazing. I've been speaking with area muralist Sir James Thornhill. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
You don't have to travel to DEC to see the cherry blossom trees in full bloom. You can find them right here in the heart of Richmond. Maymont has a variety of cherry trees on 100 acres of grounds. The city's most popular is the white fountain cherry tree. Spring weather brought a mixture of rain and shine, but kept temperatures above freezing. And as a result, the cherry blossom trees have reached peak bloom. Maymont has welcomed the spring weather with many programs and events for all age groups. Patrons are able to enjoy the cherry blossoms with free admission. Maymont's estate offers garden tours and is open to the public until October.
Overcast and even some rain couldn't stop people from enjoying one of Richmond's most treasured traditions called the Easter On Parade. The parade took place this past Easter Sunday. Each year, more than 25,000 people come together to listen to music, eat, and buy from local vendors. The attendees paraded up and down the streets of Monument on the blocks between Allen and Davis Avenue. They came dressed up in their most festive outfits to celebrate Easter and the arrival of spring. This year, event included entertainment for all ages. The crowd gathered around to watch dancers and play games. The parade takes place each Easter Sunday every year with free admission. And finally tonight, animal therapy has been proven to be very effective for some people.
One four-legged friend is changing the lives of those she met. InSight's Nancy Gabaldon has more on the story.
It's a sunny day in Chesterfield County as Clara prepares to ride with Jillian. Jillian is a pony. She's also the driving force behind Journey of Hope for Autism, which is an assisted program for kids with special needs. Clara has become a regular in the program. She is 5.5 years old and has autism.
So after she rides, she's always just very much a lot calmer and little bit more focused. So I feel like it improves every time we come.
In-home therapist Amanda Winkleer works with Clara and sees the advantage from working with animals.
I think pet therapy is really beneficial, and again, for our client, the sensory needs are fulfilled, which I think she definitely needs.
With over 50 kids that have been in the program, families have traveled from cities all over the area.
This is the horse behind the magic. Little Jillian has been working with special needs children for over 4 years and continues to go strong.
But the real driving force lies with Victoria Bryant. She started the program 4 years ago after witnessing the impact Jillian made on her grandson.
A lot of different physical, mental, and emotional benefits from this. And it's going through the children. And the horses too, they get a lot out of it too, but every child that comes out here gets something.
Bryant says that her program is year-round and it is affordable, making sure that everyone has the same opportunities. For VCU InSight, I'm Nancy Gabaldon.
Journey of Hope for Autism will be hosting special events throughout April in honor of Autism Awareness Month. It's open to any children with autism. For more information, check out their website. And that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check out our website at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any story ideas you would like to see on our show.
And if you missed our show or would like to watch it again, you can find us on YouTube at VCU InSight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Taylor Gleason.
And I'm Aaron Dean. We'll see you next time.